Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? So I got sent a interesting link that I just read. Well, I read it a few hours ago, but decided to do a video about it. Deontay Wilder says he would have KO'd the great Joe Louis. So it would have been the Brown Bomber versus the Browns Bomber, right? Let me go ahead and read what my man Deontay Wilder had to say about Joe Louis, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give my opinion about it. He goes on to say, and this is Deontay Wilder, he says, he was a smaller heavyweight, but he was considered one of the best. And like me, he's from Alabama. Wilder said of the longest reigning heavyweight champion in the history of the sport. That would have been a great title fight between two hard-hitting heavyweights. Of course, I would knock Joe out. I think given his height, he would have never get past my jab. But even if Joe was able to muster up enough energy to get beyond my jab, the jab would have hypnotized him enough to where he would never see the right hand coming. And once I land that right hand on him, that's it. All right. He also, that's pretty much it. But I'll leave this article in the description box, and it was from Boxing 24/7, aka eastsideboxing.com. All right. Now, I would, first of all, I expect him to say that. You know what I mean? I mean, why wouldn't he say that he could beat anybody in the history of the division? I expect him to have that type of confidence in himself. That's why I never got mad when Mayweather said he could beat Sugar Ray Robinson and all these guys. I mean, my opinion is different than his, but I expect these fighters to say that. Sometimes these guys, they'll take the humble approach, but if they do say they can beat old timers, that's what they're supposed to say. Whether you believe it or not, that's what they're supposed to say, okay? Now, with the whole, I know guys like to get on everything evolves, and you're right, everything does evolve, bigger, stronger, faster, so on and so forth. But that, to me, doesn't necessarily mean that technically you're better. Some people, they are going to say no, guys get better technically because we're learning from each other worldwide, so on and so forth. I mean, we can debate this all day. I really don't like doing mythical matchups, I really don't, but one thing I will say is this. For one, I believe that I have to wait until Deontay Wilder's, and I'm not comparing their resumes or anything, but I got to see him fight some of the today's best, like Joshua, Ortiz, Klitschko, all those guys, to get a better feel for Deontay. But from what I've seen, his fights when he's fought the guys like Molina, Spilka, Duapa, Stavern, guys like that, he's done well in those fights. He's shown me different facets of his game, being able to use his jab, fight off his back foot, a nice left hook that he has thrown in his arsenal, check left hook. He can pivot off his, pivot and then throw the left hook at the same time. He's showing me some more things than when he first came into the game. So I'll give him that. But I really don't get hung up on guys are just today they're bigger, fat. I don't, because back in those days, I mean, Joe Louis, to me, he had problems with different types of styles. So I just can't say Deontay Wilder's reach advantage would have just gave him problem because he has an 83-inch reach advantage and Lewis has a 76. Wilder does have 5 inches in height and probably a 20-pound differential in weight. Lewis would get up to 205, 204. I've seen him at those weights at the end of his career. He was like 211. But he was 199, 202, something like that. So he wasn't just a small, 170-pound guy back then. Very powerful, man. He's one of those dudes. He may been smaller, but I think he hits just like a heavyweight, though, man. I remember Mike Tyson, kind of off subject, but I remember Mike Tyson said years ago, he was like, man, Tommy Hearns can hit like his right hand can land on you and hurt you just as well as a heavyweight could. I remember Tyson was saying, he was talking about leverage and just the leverage Hearns would get on his punches. But Joe Louis, man, if he was to get mid-range on Deontay Wilder, I think he would knock Wilder out. If they're fighting mid-range, trying to air it out, I think he has a shorter arms. He has a big right hand that he likes to throw. He was very accurate with his punches, his left hook and his right hand. Now, is there a possibility that Wilder can keep him on the outside of that jab and outbox him? Of course. With a jab like that, and Wilder is a lot more athletic, in my opinion, than some of the big guys that Joe Louis has faced. And let me get back to that, because there were some guys on Joe Louis' resume that were big guys. Abe Simon, not a world beater, but he was 6'4", 250-pound guy with an 82-inch reach back then. Buddy Bear, again, not a world beater, but he was still 6'6", 250 pounds with an 84-inch reach. So it wouldn't have been if he had Wilder in front of him like, hey, what is this? Now maybe the athleticism of Wilder would have probably threw him off, but then again, I still don't know what to think about Wilder fully until he fights some of the creme de la creme. I'm not talking about solid competition like Duopa, but I'm talking about the Ortiz, the Klitschko's, the Furies, the top guys that are around right now while he's fighting. Size, I mean, look at a guy like Jack Dempsey, man. He was what, 6'1", 180 something pounds, and he went in there and destroyed Jess Willard. Willard was like 6'7", what, 260 something fucking pounds, man. He went in there and just ran right through him. Again, you might say, well, Jess Willard is slow and okay, but again, that's what I'm saying. Size really, I mean, because if Willard was so, much bigger and stronger, he could have just he should have been physically been able to just walk through Dempsey if you're just talking about size. You know what I mean? And I don't even want to bring up guys like Sam Langford, guys who are really short and small and diminutive in size. But I don't know, man. These mythical matchups are pretty hard to do, man. But I expect Wilder to say he'll knock him out. I don't think he'll knock Joe Louis out. I'm not sure who I would probably roll with Louis, man. It's just hard to go against Louis, but I can understand somebody picking Deontay Wilder because of the size and, bigger, faster, stronger. Although there was guys that were just as big and just as strong back then. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. What do you guys think about this? Now, I understand Louis had problems. He went down to the canvas in his career a lot of times, sometimes. So it's not like he was just, he never got beaten or he never got dropped or hurt. Billy Conn gave him trouble. Walcott was giving him trouble. Ezra Charles, Max Schmeling. What was the dude from Chile, man? Arturo Godoy, I believe. If you watch that first fight, well, both of the fights, Godoy was getting right up in Joe Louis's chest, giving him. To me, Louis would have had a lot of problems against a guy like Frazier or Mike Tyson. He had problems with a guy that pressured him like that. He would have problems with movement sometimes too, like the Billy Conns, So, he can get countered sometimes too, because Joe would have his hands low. So, I don't know, man. It's just hard to pick against the legends, man. It's very hard for me, and I'm biased, So I'm gonna be honest with you, but I can see it going either way. But I want to get a better idea of Wilder once he faces some of the other top guys of today, and some of the different style matchups of today. But I definitely want to count Joe Louis out because Wilder's bigger, faster, stronger. I definitely wouldn't count him out. And Wilder's a guy that's not as far as weight, is not a huge guy. He was coming in at 215, 211-ish during his career. It's just now that he's added the weight and he's, got to the 227s, and, but I remember he would come in at 219, 218. So I don't know, man. What do you guys think about this, man? To me, Louis would have, like I said, would have had more problems against all-time great pressure guys like Frazier, Tyson, guys like that. Although, Marciano, he fought Marciano towards the end of his career, but those type of guys to me would have gave him the most problems. Just going off what I saw against the Arturo Godoy fights. So I don't know, man. What do you guys think about this? Who do you think will win between Wilder and Joe Louis? Or are you just pretty much, hey, man, I don't like doing this, comparing guys from different eras. It's too complicated. I can understand that too, man. But let me know what you think in the comment section, man. I'm out.